Hi guys, this is John from worldstoughestworkouts.com. Today I'm here with UK kettlebell expert Tommy Matthews from Optimal Life Fitness, and we're going to find out basically what's so great about kettlebells as a tough training tool. Thanks for joining me today, Tommy.
No problem, John. Pleasure.
Right, let's get into it. Why is kettlebell training so effective, and why does it deserve a place in the world's toughest workouts?
John, I think it's the major things are that the kettlebell is a great piece of kit. It's very versatile. It's dynamic. The type of movements that you're using a kettlebell for are, I guess, big compound movements. Multi-joint movements. We're not focusing on any particular joint there, and that versatility that I've already mentioned. What that does for your body, you can pretty much train for anything. You can train for strength, power, speed, muscular endurance. So you're hitting all biomotor abilities there. It's a great muscular endurance workout. It's a great CV workout. So pretty much you can pick up a bell and do anything you want with it, and I think that's one of the reasons why it is such a great piece of kit.
So do you reckon it's possible to kind of do everything at once? Obviously, you say about muscle endurance, power, strength. Can we train all that at once, or is it, you look at kind of traditional periodization, it tended to be, kind of muscle endurance, hypertrophy, strength kind of separated. Do you think with kettlebells you can do everything at once?
Yes, to a certain extent, but to a higher level, if you wanted to focus on one specific thing to a certain level, you can't get that optimal, performance out of a kettlebell. Let's say it was power perhaps, and you were training for power. There are other things that you want to be doing in that and using. So although kettlebells are fantastic and they pretty much do everything, there are certain areas that you'd probably want to use other pieces of equipment. One great example would be if you are training for strength. There's no way you're going to be able to lift your maximal with kettlebells. You just simply can't pick up enough kettlebells to do it. For example, if you're performing a back squat or a deadlift, you're going to use an Olympic bar for that.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question, actually. Do you use kettlebells exclusively, or should they be part of a bigger toolbox? I think you pretty much answered that one.
Yeah, I mean, they are great. I recently did a presentation on what's the big deal about kettlebells, and that was all about saying that they are fantastic, but and they are a big deal, but they're not the be-all and the end-all, and something that we make sure that we stress to people that they aren't the be-all and the end-all. They're a great piece of kit, but there's other pieces of kit that a trainer, an athlete should use.
Yeah, I mean, you do a lot of Olympic lifting as well, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Olympic lifting, boxing. It depends what your athlete, what your client is looking for. If they're specifically focusing on a certain thing, then you may not want to use a kettlebell for it. It really does depend on what they're doing.
Well, talking of boxing, then, are kettlebells a really good tool for boxing training, and why? What's so special about them? Because I know a few boxers have started using them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think traditionally boxing and boxers may have been slightly scared of picking up weights. The whole thought of things slowing them down, which in previous years I can certainly understand if they were to go and sit on a fixed weight machine and do certain exercises, most definitely. But with a kettlebell, the crossovers are great. The speed, the power, the movements that you're actually getting and performing with a kettlebell, the crossover to boxing is superb. Boxing's all about using your hips and using your body. The arms are just a lever that send that energy through from the body, and a kettlebell is effectively, most of the big kettlebell exercises are all hip dominant exercises. Your swings, your snatches, even your jerks are coming from your knees and your hips. So it's the crossovers are great, and I know a lot of boxers are using them now. A lot of mixed martial artists are using them, so it's certainly building a presence in that world.
Okay, so outside of the sort of fighting world, do you know any kind of other examples of top sportsmen and women who are using the kettlebells for strength conditioning, and how would they kind of structure their training around that?
I don't know necessarily particularly athletes. I know certain factions, certain sports are certainly using them now. There's a lot of the big rugby clubs use them. Even the football clubs are starting to bring onto it and get involved. I do know that the Lawn Tennis Association and the tennis teams, they use them quite a lot. Good example was their junior team actually using them for their training, for their power work. And I don't know if you remember, but the young girl that won the Wimbledon juniors final was a big user of kettlebells pre to that, and her performance, her strength, and her power, seeing her on that court in Wimbledon, and now gone on to a professional level, is immense. And one of the major things that she was using was kettlebells. The strength and conditioning coach for the Lawn Tennis Association Association juniors team has actually done our courses and things, and yeah, he uses them quite a lot. So that would be one good example, I think, of it. But in general, most sports are kind of cottoning onto it now and starting to use them, at least to a certain extent.
So are kettlebells a solution to England's shocking sporting performances?
They certainly will help. You know, I mean, I can't say that they are the definite solution. There's lots of other reasons why England possibly aren't doing the right things and winning the games. But yeah, you know, they go down very well in the strength and conditioning world, along with Olympic lifting. You know, both of those two go down very, very well together, and the performance enhancements that you can get from a kettlebell are great. I think one of the specific things that possibly I missed out earlier on is that the kettlebell is very, very unique in one particular area, and that's its muscular endurance properties. What you can get out of it for muscular endurance is absolutely superb. Just as an example, and not to go on too much, but just as an example, a swing itself as an exercise can be performed for 2, 3, 4, even 5 minutes continuously at the same tempo throughout those 5 minutes, because of the momentum of the kettlebell swinging you. You don't lose your number of repetitions. Your heart rate is constantly building and growing and getting higher. You're going up to kind of 85, 95 sometimes % of your maximal heart rate, and that's a fantastic workout over 5 minutes. There's not many other pieces of equipment out there that will actually do that for you.
So has that got quite a good carryover to running, for instance? I know a lot of runners will shy away from weight training, probably more than boxers would. You know, do you have a lot of people using things like swings for their running training?
Absolutely, something that we'd advise straight away. Firstly, especially if it's just a general client, let's say someone who's looking to run a marathon, are they necessarily strong enough to actually go out and run? They're doing, you know, maybe 42,000 steps in that marathon, and if each one of those steps is bad, that's not a great workout for them. Look at possibly bringing them out of that and getting them into a gym and training in a gym and performing swings. Not only are they strengthening up their posterior chain, getting their body working properly, but they're also getting a great cardiovascular workout at the same time. Some of the tests and studies we've done has looked at the kettlebell swing and also the kettlebell snatch and what it does for your cardiovascular system, what it does for your maximal heart rate, and as I already mentioned, the effects are that it pushes it up over 80% and it carries on going up above 80% for the whole 4 to 5 minutes.
Okay, I know. I remember reading something from your business partner BJ. He wrote something about if he was training someone for a marathon, he'd actually only have them running once a week. Or long runs once a week. What was the thinking behind that?
Right, it's something similar. I'm pretty much very much the same. If you look at training for a marathon, we do tend to talk about marathons a lot. I'm not too sure why, not because I haven't actually done one yet. But I think it's something mainly you need to look at what the properties are, what an athlete needs out of a marathon, what they need to get ready for a marathon, and you're looking at kind of, you know, obviously muscular endurance, strength, cardiovascular, aerobic capacity, some threshold training in that, and you look at whether the athlete's ready to actually go out and run, whether they're strong enough to go and run. Can you actually do that, you know, within the gym? And I've already talked about that. Yes, you certainly can do a lot of those things with a kettlebell. What we normally suggest, BJ and I, is, you know, don't just go out and plod the pavements every day, ruining your gait and probably not even pushing your aerobic or anaerobic capacities. You want to be looking at short, sharp runs and maybe some interval training, some hill sprints, and then some gym work, i.e. kettlebells or Olympic lifting, to get your body working properly. And those sort of 3 areas would probably be very, very beneficial for most general clients, I think, if they